promoting the free exchange of ideas, questioning the status quo, and having some fun along the way. This is the Are We Idiots Show. Now here are your hosts, Mark Weaver and Rich Kroll.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Are We Idiots Show. We are your hosts, as always, Mark Weaver and Richard Kroll.
Hey, Mark. Gosh, it's great to see you this week. It's been, an entire week since I've seen you.
You noticed I went back to the traditional Mark Weaver first and Rich Kroll second. You know, I had to right the ship a little bit.
I expect that.
And as we tape this, it's Father's Day weekend. So let me be the first to wish you a happy Father's Day, Richard. It's the toughest job we'll ever have and the most important. So happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day right back to you. And you're a better father than me. You've fathered a lot more children. So you know a lot more than I do.
I've been a father more than you. That I can say. But you have to ask my kids how good a father I am. So, but to our listeners and to the fathers out there, happy Father's Day as well. Spend some time on Sunday with your children. Okay, so a little warning here. This episode, we have a rating out on iTunes as TV-14, but if you're a parent out there and your young kids are in the car, there might be some stuff in this episode that might not be suitable for them, and I'll say 15-year-old, something like that is probably a good cutoff. But the reality is, I just wanted to give you a heads up, and there's some lyrics we may cite that might be for adults only. So just make note. And the last little housekeeping issue, we need more Twitter followers, please. At Are We Idiots, please. Tell your friends, follow us on Twitter, and we'd surely appreciate it. So, for this week's show, we have our Idiot of the Week awards. I got a couple good ones here, Richie. Then we're going to talk about why does rap music, or sometimes referred to as hip-hop, get a pass? And we'll talk about that in more detail. And then since we're talking about questionable lyrics, I'm going to conclude the show with what I call idiotic song lyrics, and we'll get a kick out of that. We've talked about it in the past on past shows where culture has moved along and certain things become unacceptable, and there's certainly a lot of examples of music in the past where the lyrics would not fly today. In fact, they don't fly today, so we'll talk about that. Richie, ready to go?
I am ready, and I'm strapped in, ready to go.
You're willing to go. Okay,
willing to go.
So we have some idiots to highlight this week for Idiot of the Week award.
There's never a shortage of idiot nominations, is there?
All right, so first one, Doug Kelly, 49, from Hawthorne, Florida, called the Putnam County Sheriff's Office on Tuesday, asking them to test the drugs he had bought a week earlier because he wanted to press charges against the person who sold them to him.
Okay.
Kelly's public defender, by the way, was not immediately available to respond. But police say Kelly told them he had a bad reaction after he smoked what he believed to be meth and thought he was sold another illegal substance. Quote, in an effort to ensure the quality of the drug the suspect purchased, detectives told Kelly if he came into the sheriff's office, they could test the narcotic he purchased. Kelly drove down to the police station and handed over the clear, crystallized substance for the officers to test. The tests show it was meth, and he was subsequently arrested for possession. So the officers used this incident and gave him an idea. So they posted on their Facebook page, if you believe you were sold bad drugs, we are offering a free service to test them for you.
That's great.
Remember, our detectives are always ready to assist anyone who believes they were misled for their illegal drug purchases.
That is classic.
So I got to give the cops credit. They turned it into a program.
And a little sense of humor. So my guess is he didn't get the memo that it's marijuana that's slowly becoming legalized across the states, not heavy hallucinatory drugs.
Yeah, and then you turn yourself in for them. So 49-year-old Doug Kelly, not exactly a rocket scientist.
Doug is already, I'm slighted to give him the nomination already.
I might have a second one, Rich. Here it is. Caitlin Strom was attending the Winstock music festival near Minneapolis this past week and having fun with her friends. As it turns out, this also implied having one drink too many. Enough drinks, in fact, to get her thinking of sticking her head in a large truck's exhaust pipe.
Oh, boy.
Thinking this would be funny. Said and done. Seconds later, Caitlin realized she couldn't pull her head back out. And again, I tend to do this a lot, but I'm going to break the cardinal rule of podcasting and give Rich a picture so he can take a look at this. This really happened.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So she was stuck there for almost an hour until firefighters came and power sawed her free. Quote, "We were just all having fun, and I saw this big exhaust pipe, and I was like, hey, my head could probably fit in that. So I tried it," Caitlin told the Litchfield Independent Review. And as Caitlin was only 19 years old, police cited her for underage drinking after she was freed, to add insult to injury.
Wow, these are clearly not rocket scientists or brain surgeons. The second one's scary, right? Because what if the truck driver jumped in his truck and turned the thing on? I mean,
By the way, that's a one big exhaust pipe. Did you see that?
that is
thing?
a huge exhaust pipe. What was this thing?
It's about 8 inches in diameter. It's some kind of monster truck.
A cruise ship on wheels. She gets stupidity of the week. Yeah, idiots. The first one though, there's a humorous element to it. I'm more afraid for her well-being in the future, so I'm going to give it to Doug.
For fun, Caitlin sticks her screwdriver in the electric socket, just to try it.
Just because she can do it.
Yeah, just be fun. Okay, so Doug gets the Idiot of the Week award, and as always, Rich will send the dollar. All right, so now we're going to talk about why does rap get a pass? And let me, I tend to do this, Rich. We tend to have a little preface first. And I give you credit because I'm usually pretty cranky and bring up things that other people don't think about. But I don't really listen to rap, confession. And you brought this up as a good show topic. And I'm for free speech, by the way. So this is not about artists being able to do and say what they want. What I like doing is exposing hypocrisy. And as I looked into it further after you brought it up, there really is a lot of hypocrisy about how rappers and their lyrics get treated, particularly in the last couple of years where the Me Too movement has expanded. So, again, this is not about the genre, and I fully recognize, I'm sure you fully recognize that there's been a lot of history of musicians pushing the envelope with regard to lyrics and what's socially acceptable. Back when we were growing up, the Beatles had a song, Run for Your Life. Rolling Stones, Brown Sugar. Ringo Starr did a cover of You're 16, which was really dicey. The Knack, Good Girls Go. And we're going to highlight some other lyrics at the end of the show. But we realize that that's been what a lot of musicians have done over the years. But I do agree with you that rap in particular is misogynist and sexist and promotes a rape culture in a lot of ways. So what do we have to do about that? Why aren't they being called out?
So let me explain to the audience why we're even talking about this and my experience and why this came up. And by the way, I could care less about music genre. I'm not a big country music fan, but I appreciate a lot of people love country music. I'm not a big classical music fan, but once in a while we put classical music on to eat dinner. So this is not about I like this better than them and they're wrong and this era has better music than... I like 50 Cent or 50 Cent. I like some songs by Nelly, the Beastie Boys, MC Hammer, Eminem, Outkast, which are all considered in the rap and hip-hop category. So this is not about like and dislike. Here's how this happened. So over a several-week period, I was taking walks through the neighborhood. And one of the walks I take goes through Marple Newtown High School. And kind of after hours, you have the sports teams practicing. Baseball, tennis, etc., lacrosse, whatever. And each group was playing music for their practice. And amazing to me, it was all rap music. And these are mostly white kids. And I thought that was interesting because I think most people affiliate rap and hip-hop with African Americans, black folk, and whether that's right or wrong, I just think that's either a stereotype or a true association. So I was
And I have some data to chime in on that, by the way. If you're
okay.
done.
So I'm passing the Marple Newtown. I guess it was the boys' varsity baseball team, and they're blasting rap music. And then I passed a girls. It was a travel softball team, and they're blasting rap music. And then I got up to the tennis courts, and the tennis court folks, guys and girls, are blasting rap music. And on the way home, I got to pass through a residential neighborhood, and there were 3 boys playing some weird tackle football game on a trampoline. It was actually pretty cool. And they were blasting rap music. And I could care less. You like rap music, like rap music. But the kicker for me, I started listening to the lyrics, and they were pretty offensive at times. And the kicker for me when I came to you was I took my daughter to an outdoor public basketball court in Paoli, right off of Route 30 and 252. There were 2, I'd say, 5th or 6th graders. 1 white kid, 1 black kid, and they're blasting rap, but the lyrics were F this, F that, F this N, F this you N, F this you bitch N. And I'm like, I had to walk over to them and go, guys, listen, I don't care what you listen to, but I got a 9-year-old daughter here. I don't want to listen to this blasting in public. It's offensive to me and for my daughter. If it was just me, I could care less. And they looked at me kind of funny. I said, guys, play whatever you want. Switch the station, blast your music. I don't care. Just it can't be F-bombs and N-bombs and bitch and ho bombs. Right. So then I started looking into it. I started getting annoyed, right? And yes, there's plenty of examples through history. John Lennon had some questionable lyrics. Jimi Hendrix, Paul McCartney, Mick Jagger. But it wasn't the common theme through most of their songs, most of their lyrics on an ongoing basis.
So let me give you a little history here in recent history. So in 2017, for the first time, hip hop / R&B officially became the most consumed music genre in America. It never was before. An increase of 25% since 2016. So this backs up your point that everyone's listening to it, especially the youth are listening to it. So it's widely accepted now. The saturation of hip hop and rap music with misogynistic lyrics, and they use the term here of hypersexualized lyrics. This is from the Harvard Crimson, by the way, written by a minority, by the way. Out of 18 out of the top 25 Billboard top rap songs, this is amazing to me. This is from this year. 18 out of the top 25 Billboard rap songs, most were classified as hip-hop, by the way, had lyrics referring to women as bitches, hoes, and whores. So the core songs don't necessarily have that message, but this language is littered throughout. And of course, you already referenced the N-word and the F-word. I mean, these are it's the totality of it, I think, is what you're bringing out, right?
Well, and it's not just sexist against women. It's heavily related to violence, gun violence, killing people, killing cops. There's homophobic stuff about killing gays and slitting gays' throats, and
right.
There's racial tension in it. And I started looking into this even further, and I know some of the lyrics I researched are from the 90s and 2000s, and some things have eased up a little bit, but there's a common theme. And listen, I get it. I get the inner city life is tough. I get that a lot of cops have profiled minorities.
And probably will never understand that, truthfully.
Right. I'm not in the
detail
mix.
level.
Right. And I know there's poverty, and there's broken homes, and there's violence, and there's gangs, and there's drugs, and there's guns. I get that. And if that's your life, you want to talk about it, you want to rap about it. But the promotion of it is what I don't get. So one of the things that dawned on me is we all like to listen to music to motivate us, especially, say, workouts. Like, how do you get through a tough hour workout? You put your headphones on, you listen to music that gets you fired up and gets you excited. I remember, high school football games. We'd play music in the locker room to get us fired up. Basketball games, music fires us up. It makes us more intense. It makes us more aggressive. And a lot of these lyrics get kids fired up, I believe, in a way that could lead to racism, violence, sexism, potentially treating women badly, on and on.
Well, I don't agree with that. So that's a bridge too far for me. I don't believe that video games make shooters. I don't believe
They've
that
proven that too.
that's not true. So, but I'm fully on board with they should be able to listen to whatever they want. Where my slant on this is that it's obvious that a totality of these lyrics are demeaning to women, promote over-sexualization of women, objectification of women, and in an era where everyone in the world is being called out for the misogynistic things, we Al Franken, Kevin Spacey, what's the guy, Harvey Weinstein, and now Morgan Freeman. Everyone's being called out, rightfully so, for their misogynistic, their objectification of women, their mistreatment of women, and yet 18 out of the top 25 rap songs are using this kind of language, and nobody says a word. Is it because they're minorities singing it for the most part? Are they a protected class and untouchable?
Well, listen, and we like to bring up things that are uncomfortable,
Right,
or difficult to talk about, or people are afraid of. Let's be honest, right? With a more and more liberal world that wants to be politically correct. On the one hand, they want to be politically correct and not offend anybody, but on the other hand, they want to be politically correct and not offend anybody by bringing up stuff that was egregious in the past related to minorities. So, there's almost this theme of reverse discrimination, and you got to be careful with everything. So I think people are afraid to toe the line if they're perceived as, white, black issues, or, religious issues, or, male, female issues. And I think now you're not having people come out and talk about this stuff.
Right.
But here's just a sample of lyrics. And again, we can bring up lyrics from all the famous bands through the ages. I'm sure even Elvis Presley, said something inappropriate. But here's just a sampling. Put my pistol up against his head. I said, suck a ass, and I should shoot you dead. And here's another one. Knew a drug dealer by the name of Peter. Had to buck him down with my 9mm.
that's a good rhyme.
That's actually very good rhyme. Because the police love to break it and send him upstate because they straight up hate the N. I got my 12 gauge sawed off. I got my headlights turned off. I'm about to bust some shots off. I'm about to kill me something. Die, 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 pig, die. F the police. F the police. Yeah. She got me to the crib. She laid me on the bed. I effed her from my toes to the top of my head. I finally realized the girl was a whore. Gave her $10. She asked me for more. I mean, even some of the band's names, like NWA was an abbreviation for N with an attitude. And then there was another rapper. Some of these rappers have become public speakers. Some even gave the announcements or at college graduations because they've become that popular and culturally relative. Give me the keys to the car. I'm ready for war. When we ride on these ends, smoke that ass like a gar. Hit your block with a Glock. Clear the set with a tech. You think I'm joking? Leave your head split wide open and your bones get broken. I mean, they're good rhymes.
Yeah, give them that.
But it's pretty serious stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, and again, I'm for free speech, but I think this is a legitimate issue to point out, and there are other people pointing it out. I'll just read a little bit from this one person who was a minority writing this, and she had a perspective on this. Quote, hip-hop has always had a serious problem with the female gender. Most of the time, women are viewed solely as a visual accessory or sexual object. This is nothing new, right? I mean, as long as there's been Dr. Dre assaulted Dee Barnes, there's a list of incidents in recent memory going from Famous Dex, Ian Connor, Kodak Black, and let's not forget Chris Brown, who managed to get off or get over on the court of public opinion, becoming a worldwide icon thanks again to people's short memories and attention span, not to mention their willingness to overlook violence against women. While some listeners, DJs, and publications have removed these artists from daily rotation, most have not. So I think that's why I think it's a legitimate issue for us to bring up, and I'm just wondering when the rest of the world's going to catch up to the Are We Idiots show. We're trendsetters, Richie.
You know, we're years, maybe only months, maybe actually only days ahead of our time. And listen, folks, this is not a minority point out. This is not just about African American and black rappers.
Yeah.
The white rappers, is involved in this too. Eminem.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Everyone loves Eminem, especially because he's one of the few white rappers out there that was able to have, platinum records. But here's some Eminem examples. Under the alter ego Slim Shady. Right? He's rapped about slitting a cheating lover's throat. He's rapped about raping his mom. He's rapped about stabbing gay and trans people. He's attacked female celebrities, describing graphic sexual violence towards Lana Del Rey, Iggy Azalea, Pam Anderson. Even just last year, I guess he had a verse on Big Sean's No Favors in which he describes torturing political commentator Ann Coulter. And on Pink's new song, or I guess it was new song at the time, Revenge, he repeatedly uses slurs such as whore and slut. So to me, it's just the demeanor and the theme of rap that you need to be this edgy. You need to be taking shots at females and cops and and drugs and guns, and it's supposed to be part of the rap lyrics.
Right. Yeah, it's I don't know if it's street cred, and again,
Street cred.
two white guys in their 50s probably aren't experts on street cred, but I think there is some of that to it. So, final comments before we move on, Richie. What can be done about this? Is this something that the liberal or the quote progressive media and stars and starlets are going to have to start bringing attention to before things evolve with the rest of the media landscape?
I just want to emphasize this is not an indictment on today's music genre, right? You and I talk about we love the 60s and 70s, and we could argue for hours why we think that's the best music. But every era has its music. And I don't want to tell kids today they're wrong for listening to rap music, or that's not the best music of all time, or somebody likes country, or somebody likes classical, right? That's your opinion. It is today's music of choice for young kids. And unlike you, I do believe music and video games that are violent can influence people's behavior. So I just don't get why can't it be, and I'll tell you what, in defense, there are some rappers and upcoming rappers that want to turn this around.
Chance the Rapper is great. I like
Chance the Rapper is great. Yeah. I just watched an episode with my wife and daughter, America's Got Talent. There was this extremely gifted, talented 14-year-old African-American girl whose dad was murdered when she was a kid. He was a rapper. And her rap lyrics are about, put the guns down, treat the women right, treat, authority right. And I thought it was a great message. So hopefully it is turning around. I don't know why it's been the norm, but I think people like edgy stuff. And maybe it is going to start to change.
Yeah, and my final comment would be, I'm not oblivious to the fact that there's this thing called the exposure effect, or exposure principle, some people call it. And so, yes, if kids are continually, and adults, if they're continually exposed to something, there's a tendency for it to be normalized. My problem is, do lyrics specifically cause action? I'm not convinced of that, and maybe we'll agree to disagree on that. But I have daughters. I have 4 daughters, and most of them listen to rap, and I don't like that they're getting bombarded with this objectification of women. I want them to be free to listen to whatever they want. They don't have to listen to me. They're their own people, so they're going to make their own choices, and I'm hopeful that they're strong enough to not really take the lyrics literally and make them part of who they are. But there are people out there that do get affected by that, and it hammers down the old themes of women being not as equal as men. And that's my main beef.
Let me just say one last thing.
Sure.
So if you're at a family party with a mix of people, a mix of races, mix of religions, mix of ages, mix of genders, whatever, are you going to put on a song for the crowd, graduation party, wedding, birthday party, that thumps it out with kill the cop, rape the girl, shoot the end, F this. Oh my gosh, no. Right? Even with people that like rap music and listen to rap music. So why aren't you going to play that in front of your parents and uncles and daughters and neighbors and your priests and your pastors?
Because you don't want to offend your guests.
Exactly.
Right. Well, the only thing that I'll conclude with is if someone listens to this show and thinks that Rich and I are being racist by bringing this subject up, go get a life, because that's not what this is about at all. If we were talking about basketball and critiquing basketball just because the majority of basketball players are black, that doesn't mean we're racist. I mean, just get a life and don't even go there. How's that?
That's a dilly-dilly.
Yeah, really. Okay, so we're going to conclude the show. We mentioned it earlier in the show that there is plenty of history. I thought it'd be funny. It's actually not funny, but it's going to be funny. We're going to make it funny. There's plenty of history of songs that are no longer played on the radio because of their lyrics, and we'll highlight a few of them here. And again, the warning is some of this stuff is pretty bad. We mentioned several shows ago Dire Straits, "Money for Nothing," where they use the term faggot, and that's bleeped out nowadays. But anyhow, Elton John, "Island Girl," kind of a catchy tune.
Elton John, love Elton John. Who doesn't love Elton John?
Upscale, it makes you feel good. Here's some of the lyrics. "I see your teeth flash, Jamaican honey so sweet. Down there, Lexington Cross 47th Street. Oh, she's a big girl. She's standing 6'3", turning tricks for the dudes in the big city. Island girl, what you wanting in this white man's world, island girl? Black boy want you in his island world." Here's the unbelievable. Well, she's black as coal, but she burn like fire. She wrap herself around you like a well-worn tire. Oh, my goodness.
I didn't know Elton was a rapper in his past.
So Elton has not performed that song live since 1989, by the way.
And that's a good choice not to perform that live.
For good reason. "In the summertime," Mungo Jerry. It's beautiful out in the summertime.
In the summertime, yeah, nice, lively song.
Yeah. Here we go. "You got a woman. You got a woman on your mind. Have a drink. Have a drive." So he's promoting drinking and driving right off the second line. "Go out and see what you can find. If her daddy's rich, take her out for a meal. If her daddy's poor, just do what you feel."
I think a lot of the songs we love, we just don't even know the words.
Well, that's my point. We're trying to bring this up with the rap lyrics, and, it's been a long time, but this is some pretty harsh stuff. Okay, one of my favorite groups growing up, Genesis.
Love Genesis. Phil Collins.
Genesis is great. And in their midlife, they came out with the song "Illegal Alien." And of course, it's big in the news now with immigration. Well, "Illegal Alien" had a line in it that has since been removed from all copies. But the original, which I have the album, by the way, had a line in there, but I've got a sister who'd be willing to oblige. She will do anything now to help me get to the outside.
Wow.
So Phil Collins is writing lines
Phil.
where the immigrant was pimping out his sister to get free passage to the outside.
Wow. Wow. Elton and Phil, I got to talk to you guys on the side here.
Oh, and then lastly, probably may even be the worst of all. And we already mentioned the Beatles. They had some song where you would kill his girlfriend instead of her being taken by another man. So that was really bad. But "Hey Joe" from Jimi Hendrix, really bad. "Hey Joe, where you going with that gun in your hand? You going down to shoot your old lady? You know you caught her mess around with another man. You know you caught her mess around with another man, and that ain't too cool. Hey Joe, I heard you're going to shoot your mama down." And then at the end, it says, Shoot her one more time, baby. Yeah. Oh, dig it." I'm laughing because it's so out of the realm of acceptable now.
I think a lot of people rarely break down and read the lyrics word for word. They hear the music, they like the music, it flows pretty good. They hear a couple words, and I think people don't take music lyrics too seriously. Oh, it's just a song.
Right.
But when you look at, I like looking up the history. Hey, why did the guy write the song? Why did the girl write the song? What's the origination? What's the, what was the data behind the song? And a lot of it's based on real life experience, real thoughts. And these people put on paper. So I guess we have a history of offending the world without them even recognizing it.
And there's a bunch of other ones, obviously, and I'm sure some of our listeners will be happy to point those out to us. "Run for Your Life" was the Beatles song that I forgot to remember. But "Brown Sugar," "You're 16," Ringo Starr, "You're 16," basically pointing. He was like 40-some when he sang it, and it was a cover tune. But "You're 16, you're beautiful, and you're mine," probably wouldn't go over too well.
Statutory rape being supported by our boy
goodness.
Ringo. Great.
So anyhow, I don't know if we solved anything today, Richie, but final comments before we adjourn.
Again, we solved absolutely nothing like we typically do. But I wanted to point this out because it's interesting that it's going on in today's society. We are two older white guys that are maybe a little missing from society today, but
And one of us is really cranky too. I won't tell the listeners who that is.
no, we can guess that though.
Well, speaking of interesting, next week's show we have a very interesting, and I would even say it's monumental,
It is monumental.
because we're going to have our first in-studio guest next
Wow.
week, and his name is Scott Brown, and thereby known as Brownie.
Brownie, I call him Brownie.
We're very good with our nicknames, aren't we? Weave, Crawler, and Brownie. I mean, we're very original. We have a lot of creativity when it comes to nicknames.
Slight alteration of your last name, typically by one syllable or one letter.
And ending with a Y or
A lot of times, a Y or, yeah.
But anyhow, so Brownie's going to be here next week, and he's starting a website and Facebook page called Cardacy. And this will enable users to report and document ineptness, road rage, and other aggressive and or ignorant behavior on our roadways. And this is something that Rich and I wanted to do as a show, and then Brownie sent us some ideas. So it's a great topic. Almost every one of us have experienced road rage, ignorant behavior, people just not literally knowing how to drive at all. And we're going to discuss it next week, and Brownie's going to add to our discussion. So should be fun.
Should be great. I have 4 or 5 historical pet peeves on the road that drive me absolutely bonkers. And when I heard Brownie was putting a website and Facebook page together for this, I thought, wow, let's bring the two shows together.
Perfect. So looking forward to that. And as always, please remember, if what you see or hear sounds idiotic, then we're just the guys to help you sort it out. See you all next week. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Are We Idiots Show. Please subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher so you can enjoy all episodes.
Change lives rearrange, and true love won't say goodbye. True love won't say goodbye. True love won't say goodbye.